Okay, we're going to play a little game of let me Google this for you. But first, check this out. Hillsong has actually done what so many churches do. And when an allegation of abuse comes forward, instead of investigating it and dealing with it, they cover the abuser. And it's not okay. Not only that, they used a non-disclosure agreement and a non-disparagement agreement to shut the victim up. This is not okay on a couple of levels. I firmly believe that non-disclosure agreements should not be used in church scenarios at all. Hell no. If there is an abuser in their midst, then their duty of care is not to them. Move them on. Get them out of here. Your duty of care is to the vulnerable people who frequent churches and should be safe there. Women, children, queer people, minorities, they should be safe in churches. And this article shows just exactly how problematic that is. Now, interestingly, the non-disclosure agreement, to my knowledge, was not signed after the allegation of abuse came forward. It was not signed after a settlement or anything was made. It wasn't. It was signed as part of an employment contract. Now, if you are signing a non-disclosure agreement as part of an employment contract at an organisation that comes into contact with vulnerable people, WTF? Excuse me, my good sir, there's something wrong here. But people in churches are trained to trust leadership. They're trained to trust leadership as being some sort of bastion of moral superiority and, whatever. We're trained to look to our pastors and leaders as if God himself speaks through them. So, of course, you're not going to go, oh, this is a problem. And as an impressionable young person who often comes through these groups and often is doing an internship with some of these bigger churches, of course, you're just going to sign it. You're not going to realise until later what a non-disclosure agreement and non-disparagement agreement is going to bar you from doing it. In this case, it was a sexual assault and it was grooming and it was stalking behaviour, and this guy got to benefit from the church's non-disclosure agreement and a non-disparagement agreement. But the real problematic thing that I see in this article is what happened next. So after he was convicted, and I don't know the details of how I don't really understand how the law works there, but he got to benefit from a whole lot of anonymity. He then went to another denomination where he was in charge of basically what I read as their Safe Churches program. What does that mean? It means that any allegations of abuse come to him. It means any vulnerable person who has been offended against, sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, any of that comes to him, to this guy. Now, according to this article, that particular denomination did not know, and it appeared soon after the Parliamentary inquiry that he had been moved on from that position. Well, guess what? Now he's pastoring a church. And it is my belief that the Age did what they could to release his name, but couldn't do that because it's more important to protect this guy's anonymity than the safety of anyone in his church. Now, in his church, he's the pastor. He's the one God's talking to. He is legitimized by virtue of his position to be trusted, to be safe. And nobody gets to know what his history is. Anyway, I'm just going to post some screenshots because I Googled the name of the person in this article. The second link that came up was a Parliamentary transcript. Page 3, the final paragraph, he's named. I Googled that. I found the church that he's now pastoring. Enjoy. They're posted here. You can read it yourself or you can Google it yourself. I am so pissed that the religious freedom argument carries so much clout because these are religious institutions. These are institutions that I would like to be safe in. These are institutions that I would like my children to be safe in, but they're not. And it's not an isolated event with people, with places like Hillsong. We hear it over and over and over again, but it is your professional responsibility to do your due diligence and to, once it is known that a person is an offender, don't put them anywhere near vulnerable people. Don't do it. Mum is pissed. I'm so pissed.